on the discussions that we've had, on all those individual policy areas, you can see how we want to transform our society. But you know, to transform a society, you need to ensure that you have control of your economy. And part of that control of the economy is making sure we can democratise our economy at every level. And in the discussions that we've had with the Co-op Party and others, when in fact we had one of those conferences up here, it was about how do we ensure that by expanding cooperation we take greater control of our economy. So we've said we'll double the size of the co-op sector within our economy, but actually that's relatively timid. We want to go much further. So we held the conference on alternative models of ownership only a few weeks ago. And you can see the potential that there is for expanding cooperative ownership right the way across our economy. And also giving workers the right to buy. So when a company is being sold on, the workers themselves have the first right to purchase that company and turn it into a co-op itself. But also there comes a time when you have to recognise there are some almost systemically important elements of our economy that we have to bring back into public control. That's why we've said very clearly to them, and I'm talking to the city and some that they don't like, but I'm saying you're going to have to get used to this. We're bringing water back into public control. We've said we'll swap bonds for shares, and in those industries, which includes water and Royal Mail and elsewhere, where the workers have got shares as well, they'll get special preferential treatment and they'll be protected. But what will come from that is that we will have services which are, well, basically, first of all, efficient, effective, properly invested in the long term. People aren't ripped off at high prices, and at the same time, they're integrated in a way that enables us to ensure a sustainable green economy. That's the ambition that we have. Now, we've said, I've been going through around 60, there's no tricks up our sleeve. This is what we're going to do. Get used to it. You'll be able to have a decent return of investment when you invest in our economy in the future, but we will no longer tolerate you ripping us off anymore. Simple as that. One of the key challenges facing us is climate change. We have to recognise it's an existential challenge that we face. So therefore, what we're now doing, I've appointed Clive Lewis into my shadow Treasury team. He's going to be touring the country over the next 6 months on a green economy tour, talking about how do we drive green economics deep into the heart of government, the Treasury and elsewhere. And it does start with changing our energy system, to transfer it from a carbon dependent into one which is based upon renewable energy, at the local level in particular. Barrage schemes in the Mersey and all around the country, as well as renewable energy. But also saying there has to be a halt to the carbon. There has to be a halt. There'll be a transitional period, and it'll be a just transition, where we protect workers and communities and we protect the economy overall. But that just transition has to start somewhere, and it starts with saying no fracking. So the issue is, all of those ideas are tremendous. We're now working them up into detailed policy making. We've got teams of advisors at every level coming to help us, working groups going at a pace which is excellent, all ready for going to government. But the issue then, we always get challenged how you're going to pay for it. And it is absolutely straightforward. Our taxation system, we're going to have a fair taxation system. So what does that mean? It means, yes, the top 5% will pay a bit more in income tax. Not an awful lot more, but a bit more. The corporations that have had the tax cuts will roll not all of them back, but most of them back. Why is that? Because they've had the tax cuts, and actually they're sitting on earned income, 600 billion, not even investing. So it hasn't worked in that sense. In addition to that, what we've said, a very simple message, is that we'll have a fair taxation system. That means we'll have a fair inheritance tax. We'll make sure that we tackle some of the issues with regard to some of the fiddles that have gone on that Osborne introduced, that pour money into the pockets of the wealthy. But we have just a simple message to the corporations and the rich. You'll pay your taxes. We're going to stamp down on tax evasion, tax avoidance, the money laundering. We're introducing a financial transaction tax, the Tobin tax that many of us have campaigned for over the years. In that way, with a fair taxation system, we'll be able to afford our public services, but above all else as well, we'll be able to invest in our infrastructure, our skills, our new technology, and grow the economy. But by taking democratic control of elements of the economy, we'll ensure by growing the economy we're showing that prosperity. But the best way of showing them the prosperity is this, isn't it? We had lots of people come to our meetings over the last couple of years, actually bring along their wage slips just to see what it's like at the moment. I'll tell you, on picket line after picket line, when you go along, you see what people are earning, you just ask yourself, how are people surviving on this? How are they getting by? Well, many of them are not. That's why we have $1.25 million going to food banks, depending on food banks to feed. That's why we've got examples. Can you remember nurses going to food banks? We have teachers coming in. So at times, there's a choice between who eats in the family. Is it the children or is it the adults? And pensioners, whether they eat or whether they heat. That's unacceptable in the 6th richest country in the world. So what we've said, basically, how do you protect people in that way? Well, you ensure, like we did 150 years ago, you ensure that we have strong trade unions in this country. We set them up. We said our wages, we'll introduce a real living wage, £10 an hour. And the best way to protect that real living wage for anyone to join a trade union. But trade unions are only effective if they have a clear legal base. And we're not asking for the earth. All we're asking for is a government that abides by International Labour Organization conventions. In other words, abides by the law. So what we've said is that we will set up a Department of Employment. It will restore free collective bargaining, sector collective bargaining. 80% of us had our wages controlled in that way 80 years ago. Now it's down to 20%. We'll restore that. That department will also regulate the minimum wage and ensure it's enforced. It's a real living wage. And will ensure that we have genuine trade union rights. And within the first 100 days of a Labour government, we will scrap the Trade Union Act. All of that will enable us, I think, to start in the first 5 years to lay the foundations of the transformation of our society that we need. But we have to recognise that this isn't socialism in one country or anything like that. We have to be an internationalist movement. We always have been. That's why I welcome the international delegates that we've got here today from Venezuela, Cuba and elsewhere. Because we want to work in solidarity with others to transform the world. Now we've campaigned, Jeremy and I have campaigned on the slogan for years, another world is possible. We have the potential now that another world is actually in sight for us. And we can then link to our European colleagues, through our global connections that we have, to establish new forms of dialogue and debate among socialists across the world, so that we can learn from one another. But above all else, so that we can inspire one another, that we can change this world. What do we want? The objectives is this. I said time and time again, the sort of society that we want is a society that's radically fairer, radically more democratic, radically more equal, that's based upon an economy which is both economically and environmentally sustainable, but this is the difference. Where that prosperity is shared by everyone. A word for it? Socialism. That's what we're about. I say this, and it echoes what was said earlier about 150 years ago. I say it time and time again, and it's a fundamental belief, really. When we founded the trade union movement all those years ago, they discovered a secret. It was a secret. One, of course, they discovered that at times you need determination, of course. You need the determination to say we're right and we're going to achieve this objective no matter what. You need courage. Sometimes you're swimming against the stream. Yeah, occasionally. Last 30 bloody years. Sometimes you're swimming against the stream, and sometimes you're on your own. You have to be the one who stands up and says, I think this is wrong and I'm not going with it. Sometimes you have to have that determination and courage to do it. And actually, if you look at the people in our movement now, many of them have been those individuals, and you'll be celebrating them this week. I remember the struggle, the Technicolor struggle, the First Asian Women, the Grunwick struggle, to Sai when she was on that picket line there, what happened time and time again in the individual struggles that took place, the rate capping campaign, the miners' campaign, all those others, the McDONNELL strikers this month, those youngsters standing up and saying we're not socialists. That courage and determination is absolutely critical to us. But the secret we learned, we put on our banners. Unity is strength. Injury to one is an injury to all. In Latin America, it was the workers united will never be defeated. It was the secret of solidarity. And that's what we're celebrating this week. 150 years of solidarity. But what we're also celebrating is the potential that courage and determination and solidarity has for us in this coming period. And it has that potential of, yes, a socialist walking down Downing Street to enter number 10 to transform society. But it won't just be a group of elected Labour MPs going into government. This time round, we're all going into government. We're all going into government to transform the world. So this week, let's get the message out there. Let's get the message out there. But also, we've got local government elections this week. Now, what's happening in the media is they're trying to raise the bar very, very high, so that if there's a single Tory councillor left in, it'll be defeat for Jeremy Corbyn. That's what they've been trying to do. What we're saying is we're realistic. We know what's achievable. We're laying the ground foundations in these local government elections to take the parliamentary seats next time round. That's what this is all about. And there's a lot of hard work going on the ground here. And the difference now is not... The media are always going to be, look, this is a Tory media, they'll throw, even the Guardian at times gets up my nose, quite honestly. They throw everything at us, and they have done, every abuse, every smear, it's all at it again this weekend. But you know, I think people have almost become immune to it now. And it's so exaggerated. And that was the difference in the general election campaign. We can cut through that media as much as we possibly can, even though we don't get balanced coverage for a local government election, but we can cut through it. We've got social media that we never had before, which again is enable us to get that voice. But the most important thing is this last couple of years, you've all done it. We've reinvented word of mouth as a form of political communication. So those doorstep conversations, those schoolgate conversations, the discussions and debates in the pubs and clubs and community centres are what we have that the Tories have. We've got nearly 600,000 members. That's the difference between us. We're a social movement now, and that's what frightens them. That's why they're throwing so many smears at us. That's why they're mobilising against us with every resource they possibly can. Because what worries them now is that we're a social movement that's going to transform our society. And it goes back to what Tony Blair said way back in 1983, what we're about. An irreversible shift in wealth and power in favour of working people. And that's what we're going to achieve in this country.